this is Roger. Thanks for dropping by. You're catching me in an emergency watering. Everything should have been back to normal today, and it's not. When I had that dodgy car, that's long since forgotten, I replaced it. And I replaced it at the beginning of September. And they said, it's got a brand new MOT. That's, for those not in the UK, that's a Ministry of Transport test that you have to have done on cars over a certain age every year. And there's no reminder. Yeah? So, I bought it beginning of September. They said it had a brand new MOT. So in my mind, my MOT runs out in September. It's written on my calendar, 1st of September, check MOT. So anyway, I got a nasty letter from the government saying that if you wish to renew your tax, which was also a brand new year's worth at the time I got the car, so from the beginning of September, if you wish to renew your tax, you will need a valid MOT. Your MOT ran out on the 14th of August. So I've been driving around technically illegally. Marvellous. So, rushed down to the garage, this is last week now, got it booked in, it's booked in for today. I've got to get it there at 10 o'clock because they've got a little bit of work to do. I've got a sensor that's giving a false reading. It's telling me I've run out of water when I haven't, it's full. And now on top of that, over the weekend, my oil lights come on, telling me my oil's low. And I've checked it, it's not. So I've got a couple of dodgy sensors that I need sorting out. You can't have any warnings on your dashboard for an MOT. It must be a clear dashboard. So they'll sort that out for me. And my lights need polishing off. Because nowadays we're not allowed to have glass on our headlamps in case we bump into silly people walking in the road and they might get cut, we have to have plastic. And when plastic gets in the sun, it eventually goes opaque. And you have to have them polished off, so I've got to have that done. So I've got to take my car down at 10 o'clock, which means I'm carless. I have to get the bus back. So what was back to normal today now isn't back to normal at all. So I left quite a bit over the weekend because we were gardening. Well, my poor daughter, I must admit, she worked her socks off, but she can't take the heat. She gets severe migraines and she can't stay in the sun. She's of that very, very pale skin. The sun's only got a look at her and she burns. But we got up really early, we did our work, and we even did some late in the evening, you know, when it had cooled down a bit and the sun had moved round. But anyway, yeah, a difficult weekend, but we got the bulk of the garden done, and I am so pleased. It looks brilliant. And all the stuff's in the bins, out for the dustbin men, that's done first thing this morning. So this is my emergency procedure, and it's called the sprayer. There's just water in there, just RO water. I'm also out of RO water. The unit's going at the moment, but I won't be able to leave it running while I go and sort the car out, so I won't get that much water, and then it can go on when I come back. But this is my emergency procedure, and it's just a matter of... I think this sprayer is leaking air somewhere, because I seem to be pumping it more than I did last time I used it. But anyway, it's just clean RO water. And I'm just going around the tops of the pots. I don't like doing this because I can't see whether the water's got down to the bottom of the pot or not. So I'm going on the principle if it runs out the bottom it's probably okay. But this means I'm not checking to see if they need water. They're just getting it. I can't believe they don't need it after the amount of time. In my notes, we're going back to the 19th, 20th when these were looked at. So I suspect everything is bone dry. So this is just the procedure. I've still got the mounts to do, but I'm thinking of, because they got sprayed yesterday, I can leave them until I've sorted the car out this morning and got the bus back and all that sort of stuff, and then do the mounts. And I'll be able to water those properly, because although they've been sprayed every day, they haven't had any feed. They haven't had any feed since Friday. It's Tuesday today. So they'll be gagging at the neck for something to eat. So I'm going to leave the mounts, because I know they got done yesterday. But this is some people water like this, and I'm sure it's adequate once you get used to it, but I'm not. I don't use this sprayer very often at all. So I don't know whether the water's getting down to the bottom of the pot and, you know, or anything. All I'm doing is going on the principle that some water is better than no water at the moment. There's no way I've had time to even look at this lot over the weekend. I mean, there are a couple that are in clear pots or semi-clear pots. Like that one, that's a cloudy pot, so it's not got a black sleeve pot over it. And I can see that what I just did has gone right down through the pot and out the bottom. So this does do the job, but I don't like not seeing what I'm doing. But anyway, this is the last of them, and then I can get myself some breakfast and get this flipping car sorted out. I've got a big weekend coming up with a long drive. The thing is with the MOT test, if you get caught without an MOT, you get fined. You don't get points on your licence or any cobblers like that. And if you've got your MOT booked, they're highly unlikely to fine you anyway. You know, I mean, an MOT test is a daft idea. It's a safety check. And it only gives you a valid certificate, well, it gives you a certificate for the year, but it only says the car is valid on this day. It means tomorrow it can be rubbish and the brakes could fail. So it's a daft idea, but it's to try and keep, you know, cars reasonably safe on the road. So I see the point, but they don't treat it as a big deal anymore. They don't even do the checks that they used to do. They can't do. Given that they have a set amount of time, it's computerized, you know, they put the car registration and stuff in and date and all that. And then they get a list of things they need to do and they check them off as they do them, and then it either passes or it fails, and a certificate gets printed out and it's automatically updated to the central government place, so they then know what's, you know, what the state of play is. And you're allowed so long to get things fixed, you know, but the fact that mine's booked in, I'd probably be okay. So the man in the garage said. So car first today, has to be done, and I'll get back out here later. I'll just take the camera. I bet you've all wondered where the hell I've been. No, I haven't left the planet. I'm just going to get the camera off the tripod. Oh. No, I haven't left the planet, but there are times when I just can't do videos, and this has been one of them. And quite honestly, I haven't even looked at what's going on out here. Really. You know, I've just literally come out here, whizzed round with the sprayer on the mounts, get incredibly dripped on when I do that. It's much better to take them down and water them and let them drip on the floor. But the heat we've had has been absolutely ridiculous. You know, this place just will not cool down. I've chucked gallons and gallons of water on the floor and kept my trays hydrated. I've done what I can, but today is potentially the last day of that extreme heat for a while. We're potentially going to get some rain tomorrow, but as usual, I'll believe it when I see it. They keep showing these big blue areas going across where I live, and do we get any rain? Do we, Al? We'll see. We may get some rain, but not a huge amount going on. Quite honestly, given that I haven't been out here with a video camera, nothing much has actually changed, quite honestly. My Psychopsis is still in bloom, still looking good. The little Phalaenopsis, sweet memory, still going. This Oncidium is starting to fade, so this has not got long now. You see the way the this area just curls up and goes all veined compared with when they're bright and shiny. So this is on its way out now. So that's only got a few days to go, because the buds on this one open in sequence, but very quickly, one after the other. So that's only got a few days to go now. This Miltonia is still looking nice. This last bud is just opening, or trying to. Yep, it is now. So that one's still looking good. The Miltonia Sunset, all three spikes have still got all their blooms. They're still looking okay, and I've got aphids on them. See, I haven't been out here to check these sort of things. I do cuss what I did with those two brassicas from Burnham's. I mean, Sarah told me there was aphids on them. You need to deal with these. I said, yeah, all right, I'll be fine. Of course, I brought them out into the grow room, and they've managed to get on other things now. I mean, they are very easy to kill, but you still have to do it. You know, you can't let them get out of hand. They will damage buds and things like that. So, and if they get really bad, they'll start getting on new growths and things like that. So, I suspect I've got bugs out here now where I haven't been out here checking, especially on Dendrobium new growths, like up, you know, things like this. And doesn't look too bad. Yeah, there's some on there. So yeah, I need to do a bug thing. Neglect is one of the worst things you can do. You will work harder to make up for it. So it's better to stay on top of things. This bloom on my Epidendrum nocturnum did exactly what it's always done. It opened partially on the first day and it closed up in the evening, and it opened partially on the second day, and on the third day it collapsed. So we still haven't got that bloom to open. It's not on its last chance yet with me, but it's becoming a concern. There is no point in having it, despite the fact it grows well, if it's never going to successfully bloom. So you had a warning shot, mate. We got some Cattleya buds pushing on. This is the one, it's little lemon drops crossed with Cattleya why not? And they are very attractive blooms on the most lovely compact Cattleya plant. This grows really nicely. It's got 2 leads on it, so always a succession of blooms. That's nice. Got a feeling my Prismatocarpa might have actually opened while I've been ignoring it. Oh, it's opening at long last. So I'm not going to film it properly now because it isn't open, but the buds are splitting. That's the first time bloomer for me. So we'll have a better look at that in a day or two. We've got an awful lot of brown leaves in places, but I'm just looking at what that plant is. And those are the really old pseudobulbs. So those are the really old leaves. And we've got 2 new growths coming out. So the plant's okay, but it's losing a lot of its leaves. There's a couple of others down there. Mind you, this area here probably gets the brightest light and stays hottest because the cool air that comes in at ground level, by the time it gets up there somewhere, it's probably warmed up a bit. And that area in the corner there is the farthest point from the circulating fans. So the air's not even moving that well out there. I need to deal with that corner, actually, get one of the little computer fans up there or something. But what I don't want is a cold draft on those plants. Those are warm growers up there, so, or warmer, not warm. Intermediate, I think, is the technical expression that we all know and love, that varies from country to country. My little frosty dawn's still hanging. Now look at the bugs there. That's from nowhere. Those just weren't there last time I looked at this plant. So I need to get out, yeah, and down here too. I need to get this stuff dealt with. So I think tomorrow, what's today? It depends. When I get back from sorting the car out, I could mix up a batch of the systemic bug spray and do the whole grow room. But I'll have to check the weather because I need it warm out here if I'm going to do that, because I will absolutely soak the plants. There will be water in crowns and leaf joints, and I need to know it's going to dry. So I may do that today. But I need to get on with it, you know, these sort of things. It's difficult to say whether that's scale or juvenile mealybugs. It's unlikely to be scale. This is a brand new plant that's come from another country. But when the mealybugs are a cluster of youngsters like that, they look almost identical to the crawler stage of scale. But they are probably mealybugs, which are relatively easy to deal with compared with scale anyway. And we've got some nice buds coming here. Those have moved a lot since I last looked. So we've got some stuff going on anyway. Somebody, I believe, has hit this. Somebody sent me a name for my little bulbophyllum, and I looked online. And if it isn't exactly right, it's very, very close. But the fact that it's highly likely to be a species It doesn't really need to be close, it needs to be virtually spot on. And quite honestly, what its name is doesn't worry me that much. It's nice to know, but you know, I'm not worried, not worried. Yeah, so I'm going to leave it at that. It's just got to be a busy day. My, what do you call it? Carnivorous plant, I always forget what they're called because I've only got one. Sarracenia. This is, it's grown quite a few new, whatever these are called, tubers, not tubers, pitchers. It's grown a few new ones since I brought it inside, and these have grown green. Now I don't know whether they will get their colour later, but there is quite a lot of variety. I mean, this little one here is a deep purple. This one's quite a deep purple colour, but this one is absolutely gorgeous. So yeah, I mean, I haven't got a lot. Well, I haven't got a lot. I've got one. But yeah, and I mean, a little bit of good news now and again is always good. This Latoria died, or effectively, it lost all its leaves, shriveled canes, and the last 3 new growths aborted. Well, it's having another go. We've got 3 new growths. And if they can hang in there, it will recover. But that's 2, maybe 3 years off looking like a good plant again. That was a combination of the heat wave last year, too cold and too wet during the winter, and then followed by a reasonable recovery hit by another heat wave this spring. So, you know, the Latorias have suffered badly. The worst of the lot. They suffered more than any other thing in here. Lots of things just put up with it, but they didn't. They suffered bad. So, but I think most of the damage was done by them just getting too cold in the winter for their liking, but also being in a media that kept them wet. So it didn't dry out very quickly, and cold and wet for a warm growing plant is not ideal. That's putting it politely. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm back. What I will film tomorrow I don't know, but the next thing on my mind is to start the project plants. But they are a bit fiddly to do. You know, this lot needs clearing off. I've got to get my black cloth out. I've got to get the stills of what the plants looked like last time. I've got to get those out. And what I do is I blow them up on the computer so that I can see what they looked like last time in the distance. And then while I'm filming what they look like now, I can talk back, if you see what I mean, to what that still's going to look like when it's built into the video. So they are a bit fiddly, and the first one is always the one that puts me off because it's the one with the most plants in. I mean, some of the project videos have only got 6 or 7 plants, but this first one's got 11, and in fact it's got 12 now because one of them got split. So it takes me a while to get the first one out of the way. It's the Oncidium and some other types, but the first one will get done this week sometime. And I'll see you next time. And thanks for your patience. You know, me going missing for ages. It doesn't happen often, but it's going to happen now and again, isn't it? I mean, I was missing when I went away to Malvern back in June. You know, it's going to happen, but most of the time it's just for a day. You know, but this was a busy weekend, and it needed doing. So the garden hardly needs anything done now until next year. So really busy, hard work, not good in that heat, trying to work outside. So anyway, we got the work done. Well pleased. Big pat on the back for my daughter, because it's the sort of job that was daunting, if you know what I mean. I keep looking at it thinking it needs doing, but it's such a big job, it's daunting enough to just put it off. But with somebody else to come out there and sort of drive you on and do it with you and have somebody to talk to while you're doing it, it works, you know, so the work becomes more of a pleasure than a chore, although it was hard work. And we got a lot more done this time because I had a marvellous idea. We've only got one pair of secateurs, so I went and got another one so that we could do separate things at the same time instead of having to take in turns. So that worked well. Don't know why I didn't think of that before. Anyway, I will see you next time, and again, thanks for your patience in the big gap, and we'll get back to some sort of normality during this week. Bye for now.